Good, happy Friday evening, April 22nd, 2022. I'm Riley King. Welcome to this Friday evening edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Friday evening, so let's get started right now. First up, we begin with breaking news. Concord couple died of multiple gunshots. Deaths ruled homicide, investigators say. Bodies found in area of walking trails. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9.
Better internet experience is finally here. With Fidium Fiber Internet, you get ultra-fast gigs.
You all read in today's press release a short time ago. Late yesterday, investigators located the bodies of Stephen Reed and Jess Wendy Reed, who went by Wendy, spelled W-E-N-D-E, in the area of the Broken Ground Trails, which are off of Portsmouth Street in Concord. Specifically, their bodies were recovered from a wooded area that's in close proximity to the Marsh Loop Trail. The Reeds were first reported missing by a family member on Wednesday, April 20th, when Stephen did not arrive for a planned event. Following that initial report, significant search efforts were undertaken by the Concord Police Department with the assistance of the New Hampshire State Police and the Central New Hampshire Special Operations Unit. As a result of those efforts, the Reeds' bodies were finally found yesterday. Investigative work by the Concord Police Department has continued throughout last night and has continued throughout the day today with the assistance of other law enforcement agencies. Following the recovery of their bodies, autopsies were conducted today by Deputy Chief Medical Examiner Mitchell Weinberg. Dr. Weinberg determined that the cause of Stephen Reed's death was multiple gunshot wounds and the manner of his death was homicide. The cause of Wendy Reed's death was also multiple gunshot wounds and the manner of her death was also homicide. Given that this is now an ongoing homicide investigation, there's limited information I'll be able to tell you here today. However, I will briefly discuss the timeline of the Reeds' last known whereabouts and activities. The investigation to date has revealed that the Reeds left their residence in the Alton Woods apartment complex at approximately 2:22 p.m. on the afternoon of Monday, April 18th. They then went for a walk that led them to the area of the Broken Ground Trails. Family and friends did not see or hear from them after that. So anyone who saw the Reeds that Monday afternoon, anyone walking on those trails, anyone who has any information related to their disappearance or deaths are asked to contact the Concord Police Department about anything that they saw or heard that afternoon. In addition, anyone in the area along where the Reeds walked that day, from Alton Woods to Portsmouth Street to the Broken Ground Trails, who has a home or business security or video surveillance system, is asked to review those recordings to determine if the Reeds or anyone else were captured on those videos. Anyone who may have a game camera in the area of Alton Woods or the Broken Ground Trails is also asked to review any recordings to determine if the Reeds or anyone else were captured by their cameras. The Concord Police Department can be reached at 603-225-8600, or tips can also be submitted anonymously by contacting the Concord Regional Crime Line. The number for that is 603-226-3100. Tips can also be submitted online through the Crime Line website at concordregionalcrimeline.com, or text message tip 234 and your message to crimes. The number for that is 274-637. The Regional Crime Line awards cash to anyone whose information directly leads to information concerning the Reeds murders. All tips can remain anonymous. Having said all of that, I'm able to take again some questions and will be able to provide limited information given the ongoing nature of the investigation.
Jeffrey, were they, you said they were shot multiple times.
Okay, and there you go on that video of that press conference. Again, following breaking news this evening. Concord couple died of multiple gunshot wounds. Death ruled homicide. Investigators say bodies found in area of walking trails. We will keep you updated as we get more information into our newsroom. Let's go to some other news now. We have some sad news to pass along to all of you. John DeStastos, Dean of New Hampshire's Political Press Corps and WMUR reporter, dead at 68. DeStastos, who covered 11 presidential primaries, is survived by wife and 2 sons. John DeStastos, the most experienced political writer in New Hampshire and often referred as the Dean of the state's Political Press Corps, has died after prolonged illness. He was 68 years old. DeStastos was a native of Paterson, New Jersey, where he attended public school before graduating from Villanova University in 1975. He received his master's degree from William Paterson University in 1979. DeStastos, who spent the past 7 years as a political reporter for WMUR, began his New Hampshire journalism career as the Seacoast area correspondent for the New Hampshire Union Leader, as a staff reporter, and later the senior political reporter for the Union Leader from early 1980 through the spring of 2014. He covered many public policy issues in dozens of political campaigns and candidates. He was also deeply involved in the Union Leader's State House coverage of major stories, including the Seabrook Nuclear Power Plant, the landmark Claremont school funding lawsuit, and the historic impeachment and subsequent acquittal of a former state Supreme Court Chief Justice. His weekly political column began in 1982 and became the most read for anyone interested in New Hampshire politics. He continued that tradition during his time with WMUR through the New Hampshire Primary Source column, which appeared each Thursday morning in thousands of subscriber inboxes. DeStastos interviewed 4 sitting presidents and countless candidates of both political parties. In all, he closely covered 11 New Hampshire primaries and was planning to cover a 12th. He has appeared on television multiple times as a panel journalist in several nationally televised presidential primary debates, as well as in many Granite State debates. During his time at WMUR, he wrote daily for WMUR.com and appeared often on WMUR TV to provide analysis and context for political stories reported by our television political reporters. From April 2014 until joining WMUR in April of 2015, he was the news editor for New Hampshire Journal political website. He is survived by his wife and 2 sons. He and his family have lived in New Boston since 1993. Public visiting hours will be at the Lambert Funeral Home on Elm Street in Manchester from 1 to 4 p.m. Saturday, April 30th. And you can see featured content from John's career at WMUR right here. Our thoughts and prayers go to his family and friends. Probable cause hearing, bail hearing for Kayla Montgomery continued in gun theft case. Wife of Harmony Montgomery's father charged with 2 counts of receiving stolen property. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
alert. How much? That much? We are so getting tickets. Hi-ho.
Jesse O'Neill for the state.
Paul Garrity from Miss Montgomery.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. So I guess why don't I look to you, Attorney Garrity, I'll hear from you just regarding what you decided about the procedure for this afternoon.
Your Honor, if it's good with the court, and I believe it's not objected to by the state, we'd be moving the court to continue the bail hearing and the probable cause hearing. I understand the state will be providing me with some additional information that could be relevant to the probable cause hearing. I understand there's a 10-day rule. Ms. Montgomery is willing to waive that 10-day rule and understands she'll be held on bail on the prior case while all of this is going forward.
All right, so is that your understanding as well, Attorney O'Neill?
That is, Your Honor.
Okay. And have you talked about how much time you'll need?
For the hearing itself?
No, like, how long will you need until this is rescheduled?
We were just talking about a potential date, but I understand the state is picking a jury on May 6th. I understand they're picking a jury.
We were talking about May 6th. I have a case scheduled for jury selection in Coos County that day. That the Coos County trial window is pretty broad. It's the entire months of May and June. So I'm sure we can fit it somewhere in there, but May 6th in particular is jury selection.
Okay, so you're looking at 2 weeks or thereabout. Is that
Roughly.
right? Okay, so, and I'm back into my jury period. And how long do you think you'll need for the hearing?
An hour.
An hour?
An hour is probably safe.
Okay, well then, I'm looking to the clerk.
I'm not sure if this works for the court in the state. Would May 5th in the afternoon work?
That works for the state.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we do have something at 2. I don't anticipate, let me just take a look at the 2 o'clock.
And I'm just going to check with my witness order if I may.
Yes. Take this 2 o'clock. We feel confident, you said about an hour, so if I'm going to put this on at 2, I'm going to move what I have at 2 to 1 and put this on at 2, and that should give us plenty of time. Is that
That
your
should work.
view?
Yeah, if anything, I would expect maybe less, not to be overly optimistic.
I agree. It shouldn't be overly long.
Oh, okay. All right, so 2 o'clock?
It
On
works.
the 5th?
Yeah,
That works.
that does work for the court.
And Judge, I'll file a motion to, I believe the state's on board with this as well, to combine both cases with respect to the bail issue.
Parties are in agreement on that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll put both dockets on for bail and probable cause.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, for this one. For this
Oh,
one.
just
Yes.
probable cause on this one.
Yes. Okay. I think if there's an agreement, it's on the record. I don't need a separate
Okay.
motion
Great.
agreement form.
Okay,
Unless
great.
somebody wants it for the record.
No,
Okay. All right, anything further we can accomplish today?
No, Your Honor.
nothing is.
All right, so we're just not setting bail on the new charge. She just has the bail on the previous charge.
Yes, Your Honor.
And we'll deal with both hearings on the 5th.
Yes.
All right, very good. All set.
Right.
Thank you,
Your
everybody.
Okay, and there you go on that video. Of the hearing. The wife of Harmony Montgomery's father faced a judge today on charges that are not directly related to the 7-year-old's disappearance. Kayla Montgomery is charged with 2 counts of receiving stolen property. She is accused of receiving a rifle and shotgun that she knew or probably knew were stolen sometime between September and October of 2019. The prosecutor and defense attorney agreed to continue the probable cause and bail hearings in the case until a hearing scheduled for early next month. Kayla Montgomery will remain behind bars in connection with a separate case. No bail was set in connection with the gun theft case. She does not face any charges in connection with the disappearance of Harmony Montgomery. It's believed that Harmony went missing between November 28th and December 10th of 2019, but police did not learn of her disappearance for more than 2 years. Anyone with information about Harmony Montgomery's disappearance can call or text a 24-hour tip line at 603-203-6060. And here's a look at the timeline. And if you want to see this timeline, we will share a link with you on the Riley King Network Facebook page right after this broadcast. Prosecutors plan to drop capital murder and pursue first-degree murder charge against Jaffrey Mann. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Jackpot alert! How much? That much? We are so getting tickets! Hi-ho!
Armando Barone is accused of the murder of Jonathan Amaral back in 2020. Currently, he's facing a capital murder charge, but in court Friday, prosecutors announced their intention to drop that charge. The Attorney General's office noting that conviction for first-degree murder has the same penalty as capital murder.
Certainly there is no difference in the possible punishment, and for first or capital, it's both life without the possibility of parole. That's it.
By dropping the capital murder charge, each side will now have 15 peremptory challenges. The bulk of Friday's hearing was on the nuts and bolts of jury selection. The jury pool expected to be around 240 people, and the defense did have a request for that first day.
I wanted to ask if the court would consider perhaps a masking requirement. To be frank, I'm concerned about the number of people that are going to be in this room.
The judge agreed that was a sensible thing to require. There was also some discussion of the view, which will involve a trip to Jaffrey, where Barone lived with his wife Brittany and children. Brittany, who says she helped dispose of Amaral's body, was paroled last week and is expected to testify against her husband. The view will also include a trip to Annette Park and Ringe, where Barone allegedly shot Amaral. That's anticipated to take about half a day.
Jury selection is scheduled to begin on May 9th, both sides anticipating it'll take about a week. The first witnesses are expected to be called on May 16th. In Keene, Ray Brewer, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Police shooting of Walpole man justified, AG's office concludes. Let's take a look. The New Hampshire Attorney General's office has concluded that the police shooting of a Walpole man in December was justified. A state trooper and Walpole police officer responded to the home of Jacob Gasborough and said that while they were speaking with him, he pulled what appeared to be a semi-automatic handgun and pointed it at one of them. The trooper pulled out his own weapon and shot at Gasborough, hitting him twice. Gasborough was hospitalized and survived his injuries. Gasborough's weapon was only an airsoft pellet gun, but because the markings were removed, officials said it was reasonable for the trooper to assume it was real and responded with force. U.S. sending 800M new aid package to help Ukraine. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
Of the U.S. military aid, the new round that's going to Ukraine. Let's bring in our chief global affairs correspondent, Martha Raddatz. And Martha, U.S. officials are saying these new weapons are key for this next phase of the war.
They really are. The Pentagon believes the next few weeks in Ukraine are critical as Russia tries to take the Donbass region. That is why they are rushing in those weapons. You heard James mention howitzers and drones. Those howitzers, more than 70 of them on the way, are long-range artillery weapons that hurl a 100-pound round of steel and explosives up to 40 miles in some cases, and that is a key weapon in the wide-open, flat terrain of the Donbass. As for the drones, this new shipment includes what is called the Phoenix Ghost drones. They are much like the Switchblade drones the U.S. has sent before. They're small, kamikaze-like drones that are packed with explosives, can be launched from anywhere and guided to their targets remotely. The hope is that with the addition of these weapons and more defensive weapons, Ukraine can stop the Russian advance in the Donbass from afar while providing some protection to Ukrainian forces. Michael?
All right, thank you so much, Martha.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this evening edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. Thank you for tuning in and watching. Have a great evening. Good night and goodbye.